Hi, welcome back to theinstep.com. This is our final part of Gatecrash reviews. I'm Adam.
I'm still James, and today we're doing the rest of the cards. Dimir, Simic, the artifacts, and lands.
Yeah.
Alright, let's get right into it with the Dimir. Our first card is Bane Alley Broker.
It's kind of like a looter variant.
Yeah, it's like a increased hand size kind of thing.
Right, because you can continually get access to those cards you've kind of looted away.
I don't mind this card, but it's pretty slow.
It is slow. It's only a defensive card, it's an 0/3, so it's never going to attack.
It does draw cards, though.
It does draw cards. You can never ignore that.
The card seems fine, but it seems like very easily cuttable in almost most situations.
Yeah, I'd probably play it in limited just for especially in the Dimir deck, because it blocks okay.
Keeps the fuel coming.
Right.
Yeah.
But other than that, pretty lame.
Yep.
I do like the artwork though. It's a color scheme wise, it's kind of a unique piece.
I agree. I like it.
Next up we have Call of the Nightwing, another Cipher card.
And this one's nope. Nope. Same as most of the Cipher cards.
Yeah.
Extremely overcosted. Sorcery speed for an ability that would be cool, but is very, very limited.
Yeah, it's 4 mana for a 1/1 flyer. Like maybe if the 1/1 had Death Touch or something.
Or if it was just a 2/2.
Yeah, we've basically beat the Cipher horse to death.
Yeah. This is not helping the argument. So
more the same. Consuming Aberration.
Definitely a limited bomb if you're going the Dimir mill.
Yes. Yeah. It becomes a huge wall or an offensive thing if you additionally.
Yeah, this is like the Penumbra or whatever mill card, right? Like the best one you can get.
Yeah.
Outside of like Mind Grind, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's like fine.
Yeah, I don't see it played outside of that strategy though.
Yeah, it goes a lot against the White of Precinct 6, where it's like if you're already milling them and then you play a creature, it's like changing gears.
Yeah, right.
So like while it could be huge, just like the white, it's changing gears, and I don't think that's where you want to be in a mill strategy.
Yeah, if you're already committed to the mill strategy, like to 50% of their deck, and then all of a sudden you're like, now I'm going to change gears. It doesn't.
Right.
And
it's 5 mana. Like if in constructed, if you're dedicated to mill, just play Jace at 5.
Yeah. It's not even close.
Yeah. Next up is Dimir Charm.
You like this card?
I like this card. I think it's a little undervalued right now.
It's one of the better charms in this set, I think. I think it's probably number 2.
Yeah. The countering a sorcery will not always be relevant, but when it's relevant, it's really, really, really relevant.
Yeah.
There's plenty of awesome hits and sorceries.
On fire?
Almost all miracles, right?
Yeah.
All miracles.
Yeah, all the miracles are awesome to cast.
All the miracles, all the ramp spells.
Yeah, it's surprising when you start listing the spells that are relevant in Standard. Like, there's a lot of sorceries.
Yeah, Reckless Return.
Right, yeah, and that's obviously a control deck's worst nightmare is that card. Now let's give you a cheap answer to that.
Extremely cheap.
A cheap, versatile answer.
Yeah, this lets you play an almost main deck negate without, like, punishing you for doing that.
Right, yeah, because now it's also a kill spell for some little guys.
Yes, another, like, you say you list all the spells in the first mode, and suddenly this feels more relevant. Same thing with the second mode. Right. Like, oh, creature 2 or less, it's really not that great. But then you start making the list of everything that's actually good and 2 or less power.
Yeah.
And it's really large.
Yeah, there's a lot of relevant guys there. And then this is exactly the kind of card you want in a control deck because it's early spot removal for those low guys to get to your sweeper to reset.
Yeah.
And then, it's not an awful top deck because if they then have some bomb sorcery late game, now it's a good card there too.
Right. Very Snapcaster friendly in that regard. In the third mode, I actually kind of like you can use it as a pseudo mill on your opponent if you want, or if you're digging for a specific card for yourself, it does that too. Yeah,
it's almost like a mini version of Faithless Looting. I'm sorry, Forbidden Alchemy. So you look at a bunch of cards, choose one kind of effect.
Yeah, but, you can also set up your own miracles or like time walk them by putting a land on top of their deck.
Right.
Or something very irrelevant, and that to me that seems great.
Yeah, I definitely think it will see play once people play with it. They'll appreciate it more in the different things it can do. It's kind of like Boros Charm in terms of all 3 modes, I think, are relevant when they're good.
Yes.
I mean, Boris Charm is just above and beyond everybody else, but Dimir Charm is pretty good.
I think it's pretty close.
So, next up is Dinrova Horror.
This is, what is this effect called? Like, this is another card that does this. The bounce something and then they discard a card.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this effect. I like it a lot, but I think for 6 mana it's asking a little much.
6 mana is pretty steep, yeah.
I like it in limited.
Yeah, it's perfect in limited. It's it's a good tempo card. It's a little weird for Dimir to have a tempo card because those usually work well in more of an aggressive strategy, like a Xorius, when you have a bounce effect.
At the same time, it's very Dimir, like it's very blue and black.
Yeah,
like
the
bouncing something,
discarding.
It's just really small is what gets me off of the card. If it was a little bit bigger or cheaper.
Yeah, I mean there'll be awesome scenarios when your opponent doesn't have a hand and you do this.
Yeah, and you obviously you like Planeswalker or something.
Right, but yeah, he won't see constructive play. 6 mana, you're going to be doing much better things. So the Guildmage, Duskmantle Guildmage.
Yep. Kills with Jace Memory Adept.
Yeah, it's the other combo Guildmage. It's odd that we have 2 combo Guildmages in the same set.
I like it. It gives a lot of more brewing potential.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Him alone made Jace jump in price overnight.
Yeah. Otherwise, I do like this guy. It's extremely good mana sink.
Yeah, it's a pretty powerful effect. And then obviously the deck he wants to be in is mill friendly anyway, so it's just all bonus from there. Yeah,
I like this guy. I would play him in limited very, very much. As for the combo and something like standard, feels dangerous.
It does feel dangerous, but you can't ignore a one.
Yeah, and it's in much better colors as the Exquisite Blood combo.
Right. Yeah. This color combination just works perfectly together
for a combo. You've got you got blues, you can play counter spells.
And digging.
And digging. And Jace is a card that can win the game by himself.
Yes.
So he's either a win condition or a combo win condition. So he has multiple uses.
Yeah, much better when you compare them side by side because the enchantment is just lame without the Guildmage.
Right.
Whereas Jace is awesome.
By himself.
People have been playing Jace 100% in Bant to break the mirror.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
So
it has potential. You just got to get a little more utility out of the Guildmage for the deck to go somewhere. I feel.
Next up,
Duskmantle Seer.
New Dark Confidant.
Not quite.
It's kind of good.
It's like Dark Confidant's older brother that didn't do as well in school.
Yeah, I mean it's clearly not Dark Confidant. It won't be. It will never be that card. It's almost a hard comparison. The whole reveal, you draw a card, you lose life is the Dark Confidant ability, but this is a different card.
Yeah,
it's like an aggro card that you almost want to be in an aggro deck.
Dark Confidant feels like a card advantage engine. This feels like a kill you engine.
Yeah.
That you happen to draw cards at the same time.
Right.
Obviously, if this was one-sided, this would be instantly playable.
Oh, it'd be disgusting. I don't think they could cost it at 4 at that point if it was one-sided.
Yeah, no, or printed.
Yeah.
But I think it has a little bit of potential. There's definitely some really good flips, but I feel like it can kill you just as often as you can kill them. It goes back to the blue-black tempo-y potential. This feels like a tempo card where it's I hope I don't die before you do.
Right.
Or if my deck's designed to be low on the pain.
This is a card that would be an automatic constructed deck if Ponder was still legal. Because you could have a Delver deck with this as your top end, set it up with Ponders. It would just be ridiculously awesome.
Dimir Charm?
Yeah, maybe.
It's worth looking into. Maybe.
I mean, it's he's very powerful, and he definitely deserves a spot if you can make him work. The deck you want him in is definitely not a deck that has a high mana curve. You're purposely trying to lower your curve so he hurts you less than your opponent. I think he looks really sweet when you're playing against the Bant deck when they're flipping all 5s and
when those strike hits are losing your 5 and you're just making parity to play them.
Yeah, and you hit him for 4 in the air.
This card can't put on a good beating against the right decks. Next up, we have the Guildmaster, Lazav Dimir Mastermind.
I don't like this card. I really don't. No, it's a 3/3.
Yeah, I mean you got to get a little work out of it.
And mana cost is pretty prohibitive. It's just double.
Yeah, this feels like a EDH card.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I want my clone kind of effects to be cheap and easy to cast. Not...
So this is like you play like a Lazav and then you kill their Geist the same shaft with like a sack spell, then you get one.
Yeah.
That's like way too much work.
Yeah, it's a bunch of hoops to make this guy work. Like, I'll just play my Phantasmal Image and kill both and then move on from there.
Yeah, formats where images is...
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you. This card's pretty lacking. Very like fun and creative.
Yeah, it's a cool concept, cool card, nice design, but not exciting enough for me.
I agree.
So, Mind Grind.
This card is exciting to me.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
Yeah,
pretty
like
nuts.
If you hit like I don't know, X is whatever, 4 or greater.
Yeah. If you get above 3, it gets really scary. That's gonna be a lot of cards.
Mind Funeral is like definitely good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. This is like a Mind Funeral with an X.
Right. Yeah,
this card's really scary to me.
Yeah, it combos nicely with a lot of other mill stuff that we've seen, and I think mill might just be a deck now. Like,
yeah, the thing is you just have to if you have to decide whether or not you play this with Jace or over Jace.
I mean, as of now, I say with, but
I think you have to do the math to find if it's going to consistently get like 10 cards,
right?
And how much X you need to put in for that to happen consistently. Because at that point, Jace might just be cheaper,
right?
And like play friggin' 4 Jaces.
Yeah.
Like
the only weakness I would say that like a mill strategy would have now is to like a hyper aggressive red deck. Like, I don't think the mill clock is fast enough to race those like really aggressive decks.
Well, personally, I feel like that's where Dimir comes in.
Yeah, it does make that matchup much better for you.
Yeah, it kills almost everything in the deck.
Yeah, it kills all your early cards on the aggressive side.
The cards that you hate to see.
I think this potential mill deck like matches up really nice against like all the mid range decks. Like, I don't see how the mid range deck can actually beat them. Like,
well, a couple of pieces of removal and you'll be winning the race by a long shot.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've never been a big mill guy, but
this card screams potential.
It is very strong.
Yeah. Next up, we have Mortis Strider.
I don't like this card.
Nope, me either. There already is this card in Return Ravnica, right? Like, where he dies, he just goes back to your hand or on top of your deck.
Yeah, something like this, but I feel like it was cheaper or something. I don't know.
It was mono black, I know that.
Okay.
Yeah. No, this guy, no.
He just...
Too expensive,
I don't
too
even
small.
see him... I don't even see a place for him, really. Like, you're not going to play him in your limited deck because he's a 1/1. And then, like, the only way you could see him is you have, like, some kind of, like, cycle, like, engine where you can, like, sack him and he comes back and you can create some kind of loop. But
yeah,
I don't see where that fits in standard right now.
Lots of chump blockers?
Yeah, but then you gotta play him again. So if you gotta pay 3 mana every turn to chump block, you're not gonna win if that's what you're doing every turn.
Well, I mean, if you're buying time to just mill them out.
Yeah. I feel like there's plenty of other Dimir guys that are going to block that also do something.
Like the 0/3.
Right, the 0/3, the 2/3 guy that you sack a guy to mill.
Yes.
You know, like
you can play the anemones.
Yeah, he's like the last in the line, pretty much.
Yeah, like, you don't want him to get anywhere near your deck.
All right. So we have Paranoid Delusions.
Might be the only playable Cypher card.
Yeah, we finally see a cheap Cypher card instead of like, a 10 mana one like we've seen all day.
I definitely wish they took this route. They just made it multicolored instead of making it super expensive.
Yeah, I feel like they could have been closer to where they needed to be to make this good.
I've been proven. It's been proven to me that 3 cards a turn is very sufficient for milling.
Yeah,
especially if you're doing it for free, or with an Nefali Drownyard.
Right.
And this does the same thing.
Yeah, and then you can, because it's free now, you can double up with something else like a Drownyard.
So. This seems like a really awesome one to do a Rune, or like an Invisible Stalker.
Yeah, you want something hard to deal with, and that gets in there with little effort.
Yeah. 3 cards will definitely close the game fairly quickly.
Yeah.
So to me, this card has potential.
The only thing I'd say against this card is the mill strategy isn't really a creature deck, so it doesn't really fit with the whole Cypher mechanic. You need creatures. So it conceptually is an awesome idea, but you got to then fill your deck with creatures to make the Cypher relevant. So you might as well just play more Mind Funeral type effects.
Okay. Yeah. Next up, we have Psychic Strike. And to me, this is a strict upgrade to Dissipate and mill strategies.
Yes. Yeah. The remove from game clause on Dissipate is relevant sometimes.
It's relevant a lot of times. Like, I'm not going to like discount the card. Like,
yeah.
It's really good, but this is going to counter a spell and kill you. This is like really tempo.
Yeah.
I like this counter spell quite a bit.
Yep.
And it's an unconditional counter spell, counters everything for not blue.
Right.
And they even had a discussion where they said they don't mind. They're experimenting with printing things that are not blue.
Right.
And they're going to see if it's not like broken or bad or anything.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think blue-black is a fine mana cost. Like, it works. It's still in the like realm of believability for Magic to have a blue-black counterspell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like this card.
So, Soul Ransom.
I don't like this card.
Yeah, 4 mana, another enchantment. It's an interesting play on the control magic effect. Like, we've never seen this control magic effect where you give them this ultimatum. It's like a different effect for control magic. Control magic's usually been like, you steal their guy. Yeah, that's it. That's the story. Yeah. Where this has this like built-in card advantage if they want it back.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a cool bonus.
Yeah, it's very Standstill-esque.
Yes, it feels like Standstill. Obviously, Standstill is vastly superior.
Yeah, vastly. It just feels too expensive to me. Like, I know they're pushing it with 4 mana.
Right. I mean, they can't go too much cheaper because that's
they definitely
control
can't.
Magic is control magic.
But like, I feel like the effect just needs. I just don't see anybody being really scary about this.
Yeah,
being afraid of this.
It seems like it's the kind of control magic that's going to be good on some creatures, but not all creatures.
Yeah, like you could take a Thragtusk Tusk.
Yeah, like take a Thragtusk Tusk seems pretty good, but like if you do this on my like Thundermaw Hellkite after I've hit you with it, like I'm just gonna I'm just gonna like discard and hit you with it again.
Right. Yeah. Like
you're dead.
It needs to do a little bit more. Sometimes you can just ignore it completely, and you don't even care about the card advantage that you might be giving your opponent.
So it's an interesting ability and it's an interesting card and it's pretty unique and standard. There really isn't control magic that's reasonable. So it could see play, but I'm not 100% on it.
Right. Next up is Whispering Madness. Zachary Quinto's invitational card.
Is it really?
No.
Just because it looks like him?
It kind of looks like him, yeah. I really like the artwork. Like, I'm not going to lie. I know people really dislike it, but
I dislike it.
I just love the whole like little skeletons floating around him and like whispering things in his ears.
I do like the skeletons, I'll give you that. But I don't like the like weird proportions on the figure. Like, why is his head so big?
Well, because it's like a weird angle, or like maybe
it's not done correctly.
Okay, you're the artist.
Yeah, it's another Cypher card, and I'm not excited about this one either. Here we go.
Yep.
Coerced Confession.
No.
Yeah, 5 mana seems
way too expensive.
Pretty expensive for this. We got plenty of cards we've already even talked about today that are better than this. So.
Yeah, there's a bunch better mill cards. Like even like Thought Scour is much better than this.
Yeah. I mean, Thought Scour, so it's 1 mana and you
could Snapcaster a Thought Scour for like we're talking 4 mana total.
Yeah.
Mill 4 cards and you get a 2/1 body.
Yeah.
Instant speed.
Right.
Much better.
Definitely.
Next we have Death Cult Rogue. It's essentially unblockable.
Yeah, it's like a very bizarre fear. Like it's still evasion, which is still good, and I'll still play it in my limited deck. I mean, it's fine.
Definitely still evasion.
I like the hybrid mana. Gives you some versatility, so you can play it in any deck with those colors.
I like the artwork. It looks really cool, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
So
pretty par for the course for like a Dimir evasion guy.
Yeah. I think they just kind of they wanted to come up with something new instead of just unblockable because we've seen that 1,000 times. So like this is kind of a new variant on it.
Yep.
Night Veil Spectre, another Spectre in the long history of Spectres.
Yeah, I just would rather play Nighthawk.
Yeah, Nighthawk seems better than this. It's an uncommon, so it's cheaper for you to buy.
Yeah, I could see this being played after Nighthawk is gone.
Okay.
But like it says you may play cards exiled in Night Veil Spectre, so like even if you can't play them if they're not blue or black. Like the colors that you're playing. Like if you flip a green card, like you can't play it.
Well, don't forget, it doesn't have to be in a blue-black deck. It could be a mono-blue deck or a black deck or a black-green
I'm just
deck.
saying, if you don't have the colors,
yeah,
you can't play the spells.
It's that secondary part is only going to be a very niche thing where like the games you can do it's going to be awesome, and you really can't bank on that. It's just going to be this like sweet bonus you have sometimes.
Yeah.
I do like this artwork quite a bit though.
Yeah, I like this one better than the promo one.
Yeah, the giant bat with the...
Is it a bat or is it a dragon-y kind of thing? I think it's like undefined.
Yeah, I mean it's a specter, so it's like...
Yeah, they
have their own kind of animals.
Yeah.
And that wraps up Dimir. Let's jump over Simic. First card we have in Simic is Biovisionary.
Nope.
Yay, that's your favorite card.
Nope.
High five.
You cannot infinite reflection this.
Yeah. I mean, anytime there's an alternate win condition, you gotta like pay attention to it because they allow you to play a deck that attacks the format at a very bizarre angle that you have to be ready for. I don't know if the format actually can even support this card.
You could like Mirror Mad Phantasm your whole deck, and then Angel of Glory rises this into play because it is a human.
That's pretty deep.
That's really deep because then you can just win with a Laboratory Maniac.
Right.
Instead, and you just need one, not all four.
Right.
Otherwise,
I think if he has any chance of seeing play, it's going to be in Modern. Because there's a lot of stuff that you can abuse the heck out of in Modern with.
Okay.
Like, there's plenty of clones. There's plenty of like graveyard recursion. So like he works with Revelark.
What about Stolen Identity?
What does that do?
No, the Cipher make a copy of the creature.
Yeah,
no. Yeah, I think this guy's way too difficult in Standard. Maybe in an older format, but I feel like there's better instant win conditions.
Yeah. I mean, it's like we're talking about Modern, so it's already filled with all kinds of like combos that I win decks.
Right.
This would just be another one.
Right. And the body isn't anything that exciting and limited. And you can only play one in EDH, so his options are kind of dimming.
Yeah. Vulgar.
Yep.
Probably one of my favorite limited cards, Dragewin Crassus.
Yeah, I like this guy.
This guy is a severe beating in limited. Like 3/1 flyer is really good. Add 3, really good. Very good in the Simic deck.
And it has trample.
Yeah, the trample's relevant, especially if you can make it bigger.
Yeah, if you could get some counter on this guy, which there's plenty of ways to do that.
Right.
He could be monstrous.
Yeah, so this guy is one of the best guys you can have in your Simic deck, in my opinion. Like he's a beating.
I like it. Next up, we have Elusive Krasis. Unblockable, kind of a blocker. Gets big in late game.
Yeah, I like him. He's not as exciting as the previous card, but I think he has more inevitability.
He can get out of hand.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas the Drakewing is pretty straight up. Like this is what you get. You get a aggressive beater.
You can kill it. You can block it.
Where this guy, 4 toughness is pretty serious.
Right.
Like so it's gonna be hard to kill him, and he's unblockable. So in a Simic deck, he's gonna get out of control pretty fast.
Yeah, he's gonna clog up the ground for a little while.
Yeah.
And then when your board state is a little built up, he's probably really big, and then you can go on the offensive with him.
Yeah.
He's got potential.
So I like him. He fits well. He combos nicely with the evolve mechanic too, with the 4 toughness. Like it triggers well.
Yeah, and everything triggers him too because he's got 0 power. Next up we have Fathom Mage.
So the pseudo evolve lord, I guess.
Yes, the draw card whenever she gets +1/+1.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. I still think it might be a little expensive and really fragile.
Yeah, it is.
Being a 1/1.
It is.
But I mean that's meant to be that so you can trigger those evolves.
Right.
So this card feels like a risk reward card. If you can get it to stick around, it's gonna be very good for you. But it's also gonna be really easy to deal with.
Yeah, it's an absolute bomb in limited. Like it's a crazy card advantage engine. Because it's a hard choice to make on this card, like in terms of as the opponent to use your removal on it, because it's not really threatening the board.
Not yet.
It's not really a big deal right now, but it could get out of hand, and the cards are really a big deal.
Yeah,
the card advantage is huge.
It's a card advantage engine, much more than a board state control.
Right.
And that's kind of like a player tester to me.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, I'm not really afraid of a 1/1 with evolve evolve, but like you're.
Do you mind if I draw 5 cards?
Yeah, like somebody might not understand that is
more powerful,
much more powerful than a 5/5.
Right.
Yeah.
The only issue though is like the Simic is filled with like very aggressive creatures as well. So like it's almost just like you gotta use your removal carefully.
Yeah.
Because if they kill this right away and then I have a follow up of like a couple of the drakes,
yeah,
they're still gonna lose.
Right.
It's if they let me keep it, they're definitely gonna lose.
Yeah, it's a nice removal magnet, or like put them in a tough spot.
Yeah, I like the card a lot. I don't think it's good enough for constructed purposes. I would really like it to be. Because I like card advantage on guys. It's pretty sweet.
To me, it feels like a tempo card. Like you've got a small advantage, and then you're like playing this guy, and then you're building up on that small advantage to like get them out of the game completely.
Right.
And I think there's just better tempo cards that do that.
Yeah, I think if it was cheaper mana cost, we would have a more serious contender.
Oh, very serious.
But as of now, probably not.
Yeah.
Hydroform.
Meh. It's okay. Pinch blocker.
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of this card. I think if one of it was a permanent, like stayed around and stayed the 3/3, it would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you only get one turn with it is not good enough in my opinion. Like there's better tricks. There's much better tricks.
Yeah. Also, the arc to me doesn't make sense. Like,
well, it's the water congealing into like a form of a animal like drake thing.
Sure. Whatever. Sure. Yeah. Next up, we have Master Biomancer.
This guy, on the other hand, is interesting.
I've seen talks about him being played in like Legacy Elves.
Yeah. Because he's an elf.
Yeah, and like he makes all your elves like really, really, really big. So like the turn where you're going off, like if you don't, kill them with your main win kill condition, sometimes the decks do fizzle.
Right. You just turn them sideways.
You just turn them sideways. Like that's definitely it's very often that comes up.
Right.
But there's other strategies that do that as well, like the white creature. The thing that you can pay an X and turn everything into
Mirror Entity?
Mirror Entity.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that, but if I'm playing elves, I would just want to play Creative Behemoth. Like that just hits harder to me than than this guy. It's a pretty awesome ability though. Like I like that. At minimum, all your guys are 2 bigger.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really ignore that.
What about like the Bant tokens deck in Standard?
That's what I mean. Like I think he could see Standard play. Like it'd be pretty sweet. Like combo with like Lingering Souls,
or like Tower Identification. So you get
that's gross.
2/4/4 flyers.
Right. It seems pretty gross.
It's worth thinking about actually.
So I think he might be a sleeper on the set. Honestly,
I hope so.
So
next up we have Mystic Genesis. Mystic Snake 2.0?
No, not quite.
Not quite.
It has the potential to be way better than Mystic Snake.
Yes.
Then it has the potential to be worse than Mystic Snake.
It's a 5-mana counterspell.
Yeah, it's a 5-mana counterspell that you get a guy based on the mana cost. But so I played this in my Simic deck. I had one actually in there, and it was both sides of that coin. Like sometimes I got a 6/6.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I got a 2/2.
Yep.
Because I just was like, I was already ahead, and like that creature that they played was like that one blocker they needed, so I was able to like counter it, and then I was able to finish them off.
Right.
So like the 2/2 was kind of irrelevant. It was an additional 2 damage I didn't even need. But then like sometimes with the 6/6 was huge because I countered their bomb and essentially like stole it.
Yeah. And those decisions on which limited deck to put it in depends on the deck that you've made, like what your deck looks like.
Right.
If the game is kind of slow, stally, and this card would be good in that deck, sure.
Right.
If it's really aggressive, like I wouldn't play this. And like 5-mana counterspells are pretty unplayable in constructed formats.
Yeah, it's not going to see constructed.
And especially in our current Standard, if this card actually becomes a card, it's easily countered by Cavern of Souls or something like.
Right. Yeah.
There's nothing relevant that you're going to be able to counter because it's all going to be uncounterable.
Yeah.
So like, yeah.
Nimbus Swimmer. I love this card.
Yeah.
Absolutely love this card.
It's pretty cool. Like it's really good Evolve.
Yeah, this is exactly what the Evolve deck wants because you can make it whatever you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's a flyer. It's expensive. Like you're really gonna put some mana into it. Like 5 to 6 to really make it something substantial.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can change the numbers as you go up your curve with the Evolve deck, it fits perfectly in that curve.
Yeah, I like this guy. This guy's pretty balmy, actually.
Yeah, I really liked him. He was an all-star for me in my deck all day long. I actually had 2 Drakes and 2 of him, and it was pretty sweet.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think he meets the constructive quota.
He doesn't. He does not meet the constructive quota.
Which is cool. There's not nearly enough Leviathans.
No, it is a pretty sweet Leviathan. It's like a Manta Ray Leviathan.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So next up, we have Prime's Speaker Zagana.
Yeah, we actually talked about this card.
Yeah, we've talked about this card at length actually a couple different times. I was really low on this card when I first saw it. Like I was like, this card stinks. Like everybody's on it. It's like pre-selling for like a ton. Like I just don't see it. Just like I'm spending 6 mana. Like it's just too swingy a card. I was really down on it.
Mm-hmm.
And you were middle of the road. You weren't like super excited about it, but you were like arguing that it's good. And
I will defend it.
So I've gained some respect for it. I still think my argument is valid when it's only a good when you have the best creatures in play.
Right.
You know, if you only have a 1/1 or a 2/2, this card is not good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like okay, at most you're gonna draw 2 and get a 3/3.
Yeah. In those situations, I feel like this could be don't quote me on this, but a somewhat replacement for Sphinx's Revelations. And sometimes, because if the metagame's looking like you can't play that card, you know, via like frontline medics or whatever, like Primus Speaker's Zagana is like an excellent alternative.
It's like a shift, right?
It's a shift because you get like you still get the massive card advantage that you would.
Okay.
You don't gain the life, but you're also not going to lose the life too because you're putting a giant body on the table.
Right.
And you're probably playing her with Thragtusk or some other like monstrous beast.
Yeah, you're definitely playing with Thragtusk. You're already in green. Like it would be crazy.
Yeah, you absolutely have to play with Thragtusk just because one of her main faults is like they might get her piece of removal.
Yeah.
And like blow you out.
Yeah.
But you know, Thragtusk is a little removal proof, so no matter what, you're still getting 3 out of the deal.
Right.
And that's like not the best, but not the worst.
Right. She also does combo with Restoration Angel pretty bananas.
Pretty gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see how if you get to 1 Cassis and then 2 Blanket, if you lost this game, you don't know how to play Magic. Like you just feel ridiculous.
I could definitely see like a mid-range strategy, like
playing this as maybe a 1 to 2 of. Like I don't see it being that high.
Yeah,
the legendary, keeps it down, and it's 6 mana too. So.
Yeah, but a lot of good Simic cards help like something like mid range out.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a card I've grown on slightly, but I still think it's not as good as everybody thinks it is. I think once we see some instant speed removal in response to this spell being cast, people will be like, oh yeah, right, I can get blown out for casting this.
Yep. Definitely. Next up, we have Shamble Shark.
Another one of the good Evolve guys.
Yes, very good Evolve guy.
Sweet, like Flash, so he's a trick. So you can get some nice little blocks in or attacks in where, like, you flash them in, you trigger all your Evolve guys. Really sweet.
Street Sharks. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, no, he's really creepy. Like, he's a fish crab thing. Yeah, kind of
the head of a hammerhead
shark. Like, it's a pretty sweet card.
Yep. Very playable and limited.
Yeah, and like I feel like he's almost playable and constructed and like just like aggressive because of the 2 mana, 2/1.
Almost.
I hope so.
Me too.
I doubt it, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm a little against, but almost.
So Simic Charm. This one's pretty good too.
Yeah, I like this one.
This one's not like you're not really like scared of getting blown out by this card. It's more of like a small advantage card.
Yeah, this feels really good in like the banned mid-range deck that I just suggested a minute ago. Like this and Celestial Charm.
Right.
Like, that seems like crazy.
Yeah, they do work nicely together.
You tempo them out so you can hit your land drops and play your giant dudes.
Right.
And you and then you like exile their giant dudes. You win Thragtusk fights.
Yep.
You get trample. You can push lots of damage with both of the charms.
Yes.
And you can blank removal with Simic Charm.
Right. Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah, the charm's pretty good.
It's an interesting like collection of spells too with the mana cost. Like it's like literally giant growth and unsummon like smashed together, and it's that mana cost.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Potentially very strong.
Yeah.
Next up we have Unexpected Results. I'm not against this card either.
No. It's an interesting card. Can be very powerful, but there's this randomization factor, right? When you
you shuffle your library first.
Yeah, so that's always tough to evaluate those kind of cards because if you can combine it with some kind of thing that can kind of cheat that, like you can take away that randomness,
mm-hmm.
then it becomes really crazy.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know. It's a tough card. I don't think it's playable. Because it's just too...
I can see, like, flipping, like, the Zaganas and, like, just playing them for free.
Well, yeah, that's obviously nuts.
Or, like, Thrag Tusks.
Right.
This feels like an extreme ramp card. Because, I mean, if you don't hit something, then you are hitting a land, and then you're just putting it in the blind.
You get to do it again, yeah.
Yeah. I think this card's actually, like, pretty good. If you put it in the right shell.
Yeah, I think you'll have to build your deck in a way that will take advantage of it and not have it filled with, like, a bunch of, like, mana dorks and stuff.
Okay.
Because those are like would be like bad flips essentially. So like it feels almost like a cascade kind of mechanic. You know, where you just kind of like get a card randomly that like fits a criteria.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like, so you don't want to have all these bad flips basically. Yep. So if your deck's all like Zaganas and Thragtusk, okay, fine.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. So
I can see this being like the main engine to a deck like that, though.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like a build around me card.
Yes, yeah, it's definitely very build around me.
So in that regard, I think it's powerful. But if you're just gonna jam this in as a value card, I don't think it's where you want to be.
Okay, yeah, I can agree. Next up, we have Urban Evolution, and I think this card's like secretly pretty strong.
I really like this card a lot.
Yeah, like draw 3 is always really sweet. And playing additional land ramps, like there's like no downside to this card.
No, there really isn't. It's perfect for the ban control deck. It's exactly what you want to be doing, you know.
Yeah, I like this card a lot. Thing is, at that point, you're probably not playing Sphinx's Revelation.
Yeah, or you're cutting them down a little. You know, you're not going to be playing 4.
Yeah, this card is pretty substantial. I would keep an eye on it, and I would definitely build a deck with this in mind. Yes, this card is good.
Yeah, that's a ton of advantage because like you get to draw the 3 cards too, and you could, if you draw a land out of that, like you can play an additional land. Mm-hmm. You know,
it's going right in my board rigging this deck.
I'm sure it is. Yep. So the final Guild Mage,
Simic Guild Mage. I like it.
Yeah,
I think he's like really good.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy they tweaked most of the Guild Mages to be pretty good. Mm-hmm. There's a few misses, but...
I would definitely play this in a Simic limited deck, and if a Simic strategy does come to fruition and constructed, I feel like you can also play this.
I think he could be there, yeah. He's really sweet in limited. She's a built-in card advantage. He pumps your guys.
Yep.
You know, if you have the mana available to pay 2 extra. Mm-hmm. He's exactly where you want to be in that deck. So
yeah, he really makes like dorks less dorky.
Right.
Definitely. Which is like really good.
Yep.
And like you can like pump that up, like activate that twice, and then play like an Arbor Elf, and now it's a 3/3 Arbor Elf.
I also like the interaction of like with the evolve mechanic specifically. So like, say you maxed out with your evolve, which happens, if you can then reduce that guy's power by drawing a card, mm-hmm. then the evolve triggers again, and now it gets him back up. So like, it almost lets you play with that. It's almost like free cards at that point.
Yeah, this guy definitely keeps the evolve flowing, which is really sweet.
Next up, we have Biomass Mutation.
Another really sweet card.
Yeah, this is a really strong effect. Mm-hmm. It feels similar to like a Mirror Entity effect, but more of a surprise because there's nothing on the table.
I definitely want to play this in a Mana Dork stack.
Yeah, it seems crazy there, with like some tokens, like Lingering Soul seems really good with that.
Yep.
I could see this not actually being a blue card at all. It seems more like a green card.
Yes.
Almost like an overrun.
Right. It definitely feels very, very green and a little less blue.
Yeah.
But I think this card's very good, very, very playable.
Yep. I think it will surprise a lot of people and you'll get a lot of surprise wins because of it.
Right.
So, definitely another card to watch.
Yep. Next up is Bioshift, and I think this is also another very playable and good card.
Yeah, really sweet. This is much better than some of the other Simic combat tricks we've seen. This is the one you want to be at.
Right.
Super cheap, and it can be super powerful.
Again, I feel like this is going to affect the worthy.
It just might be, yeah.
Yeah, I think this card is good.
Yeah. The nice thing is, like, it actually, like, combos with Undying pretty sweet. Like, you can actually, like, take the Undying counter off and, like, put on another one of your guys. And you guys can re-undy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
Not really in those colors, unfortunately.
No, yeah, it's a little weird with the color match.
It is green, though.
It is green.
Does Predator Ooze get +1/+1 counters?
It does.
Oh, man, it's like a counter engine right for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, maybe.
This card's pretty sweet, and it's like super cheap.
Yeah,
for this effect. It's super, super cheap.
Yeah. Instant speed, which is exactly what we want to be with this kind of trick.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing it does have is has to be the same controller.
Yeah, that's usually not going to be an issue.
No, usually you're fine with that. I mean, because you're building your deck, because you're supporting this card, generally you're going to be the one playing with counters, not your opponent. But
yeah,
it would be pretty sweet if you could move it on to one of their Undying guys and get them there.
Yeah,
oh, sorry, you set a counter on it now.
Yeah.
Next up, man, Merfolk with the Depths.
Nope.
Next.
Nope.
Yeah, 6 mana, 4/2 flash at uncommon. What are we even doing here?
Yeah, he's really expensive, and all he's going to do is trade with a dude.
Yeah, I don't even know how they even justified this when they were deciding on the mana cost and the rarity.
I might like it if it had Evolve.
It has to have something else. I kept reading it, there's going to be some kind of hidden thing in the flavor text. If you read me, you win.
I was really excited when I started reading this card because it said Merfolk, and I was like, I love Merfolk.
No. Yeah, Merfolk that are not 2 mana, no good.
Yep.
So that's the last Simic card.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with Simic this time around.
Yeah, I like Simic quite a bit. Pretty strong, very fun to play. A ton of interactions, ton of tricks you can do.
Mm-hmm.
So let's jump into the artifacts.
Yes, starting with Armored Transport.
How do we feel about this guy?
Sure, a little expensive.
He is a little expensive. For me, his playability rests with Boros.
Okay.
Because it's the kind of card that you want to attack with, because it doesn't die. But it is a little expensive specifically for that deck. But if you really need a guy, I think this fills the slot.
Okay.
Yeah.
This guy I feel like is playable as just a creature in a lot of limited decks. Just to play another creature.
Yeah, I just think he has the best upside in Boros.
Sure.
But not great. You're not happy to play it, but you will if you need it.
Yeah, he's definitely good at going into the red zone.
So next up we have the first key rune, Boros key rune.
Do all the key runes at once, right?
Yeah, we can do all the key runes at once.
Yeah. So the Boros key rune, worst one.
Yeah, most people feel it's the worst one. I mean, it has the ability to be the most aggressive one because of the double strike, but you have to put work into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe a Wolf Run or something like that, to combo with it. Because other than that, it feels pretty lame by himself.
Extremely lame.
He actually loses pretty much to any other key rune, kills him. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
So a little disappointing. I was hoping for a little bit more aggression on the Boros key rune, but they got to be careful with double strike because it is really strong.
Yeah. It's just really, really small. The creature's just too
irrelevant. He's very weak. So we're going to go from that to Dimir,
which I think is the best one.
It is the best one in my opinion too.
Yeah, this is totally ridiculous. This is like Creeping Tar Pit.
It feels very much like Creeping Tar Pit, and I feel that's where you want to be with a control-based guild.
Yeah.
You have this thing that helps you early because it ramps you. Ramps you to Jace turn 4 or something.
Right.
And then if that goes bust, now you can actually have this alt-win condition that really didn't cost you anything. You don't have to take up a slot.
This is the only real attacking thing that I'm okay with playing in a mill strategy because it's mana fixing and it does ramp you to Jace like you said, or into a Mind Grind.
Right.
Or X spells in general.
He also is a great answer to other planeswalkers.
Yes.
He can actually take down some planeswalkers.
Key runes have proven themselves to be very efficient.
Yeah.
In that department.
So yeah.
Best key rune.
Really good key rune. Next we have Gruul. Pretty disappointed with this one, honestly.
Yeah, it's totally overshadowed by Selesnya.
Yeah, as the green player here, why don't you just play the Selesnya and you get a 3/3? Yes, it has trample, but you're giving trample to a 3/2.
Right. Would you rather have been a 4/2?
I would have much preferred it to be a 4/2.
Would you be happy with that though?
Yeah, I mean, because you can't make it another 3/3 because they would just be okay, you're just making it Selesnya key rune.
It's just got trample.
And then if you made it a 3/3 with trample, then you just invalidated Selesnya key rune.
Yeah.
So they had to play this game. I almost feel like maybe they could have made Selesnya a 3/4.
Okay.
Plain, and then made Gruul a 3/3 trample. I think I would have been happy with that, but
yeah, that would have been really helpful for Selesnya. I think they could have used it.
But
next up we have Orzhov key rune.
Some people really like this one, but I'm really not a big fan.
I like this one. It does a lot of blocking. It can grind you out slowly if the game gets to that point. And it's got lifelink.
Yeah, the lifelink is big.
This is a key rune I want to block with.
Yeah, it's basically a 100% defense key rune.
Yeah, I do like this key rune, but I don't think it's really gonna find many places. Like I would play it in like any like dedicated Orzhov deck just for mana fixing.
Okay.
But otherwise, not much to say about it. And then the last one is Simic key rune.
Also not super exciting in my opinion.
No, not exciting at all.
I feel like the hexproof ability on a key rune doesn't feel right.
Redundant.
Because the key rune already is like super, again, it totally gets around all sorcery speed removal.
Yeah.
So it almost has like a 50% hexproof as it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they could have pushed it in something else. I'm not actually exactly sure what.
Yeah, no, I agree. The hexproof is like very like very not helping the key rune at all.
Right.
Like, it's just a 2/3.
Yeah.
That's what I think about it. Like, yeah.
Maybe it could have been like a 2/4, like crab or something. I don't know.
Maybe. Not much to say about Simic key rune. It's not going to get anywhere. It's not going to do anything. It's already in colors that have plenty of ramp. So it doesn't even get that benefit.
Right. And we're seeing like this resurgence of Simic, but as a very aggressive guild, which generally you don't want key runes in your aggressive deck because they slow you down.
Right.
So. Yeah.
Definitely.
So the first non-key rune we have is a Glaring Spotlight.
Much to be said about this card. Would you play it as a hexproof?
No. I'm really low on this card.
Okay.
I don't like it.
I think I agree. Like, having a sideboard slot dedicated to, like, just disabling their hexproof seems really weak to me.
Yeah, it's just not where you want to be.
I would just play cards that could deal with hexproof creatures, like, straight up.
Yeah, we have Liliana and we have Devour Flesh now, which are fantastic against those strategies. And they're also fantastic against plain creature-based decks, too.
Right. I mean, this is, like, an artifact, so, like, it's good for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, that's the... this was clearly almost like a very veiled apology from Wizards to be like, hey, sorry, guys, we did too much hexproof at once.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because, like, black is definitely the removal color.
Right.
And I could see this being like a mono red sideboard, just against like invisible stalker decks, because Saint Trap decks, like 100% win the race because you're gonna have to burn for the creatures.
Right. Yeah, that is one thing. Like maybe mono red does have this because that is one of the few decks that actually can erase mono red. Is the
Saint Trap decks.
Ban Aura's deck.
Yeah.
Because it does do a ridiculous amount of damage.
And like, but if those creatures aren't there, like it just flops.
Yeah, and then you just Searing Spear everything.
Right, yeah. So, like, I guess this could be good in mono red, but otherwise the only color of the removal is just going to be black, and there's already better black answers.
Yeah, you never play it in black. In the secondary clause of the, 3 and sack to make your team, I don't know.
It is unblockable, but it's a very, like, turn creature sideway standard format.
Yeah. So
you're already going to be getting in for lots of damage.
Right.
Like, if you're playing on the defensive, like, you're either playing a deck that's meant to do that, or you're kind of like on the back step anyway.
Yeah. So not a fan of the card. Have the first equipment here, Illusionist Bracers.
Too expensive.
It's a little expensive. I wish they just did the. I much prefer when the mana cost on equipment and the equip cost is the same.
Yeah, me too.
Or the equip is less. Like I keep paying more for the equip. Like it just feels like a lot of work.
I would rather pay like a 3 up front than 1 equip.
Yeah, I agree.
Much better.
It's a pretty powerful ability to double on creature abilities. We have plenty of nice creatures in the format that have sweet abilities, like all the guild mages. So anytime you have to double those for free is pretty strong.
Yeah. The fact that it's a rare, like, relays against it, in my opinion. Because, like, I would definitely, like, not be against drafting this if I've got lots of guild mages or like really strong guild mages.
Right.
But if it's a rare, like I'm never going to see it. And I'm never going to pick the rare over probably
come up.
Common.
Yeah, it's going to come up so slight. And then I just don't think it's good enough to be constructive play.
No, not at all.
Unless there's some kind of like weird combo that comes down the line that you like some kind of instant win thing where like
like
copy a thing a bunch of times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
No.
The artwork's pretty sweet though.
Yeah, I like it. Next up is Millennial Gargoyle. Just a 2/2 flyer for 4.
Yeah, it's fine. He does what he does. I mean, you'll play him if you need a guy, but
exactly, you'll play him if you need a guy, but he's your first cut.
You would prefer not to, yeah.
He's your first cut.
Yeah, especially he's pretty laughable when you compare him to the Simic-based flyers.
Yeah,
like they're way cheaper, way more aggressive. They do tricks, like
yep, definitely.
So,
then we have Prophetic Prism. I think a pretty solid reprint.
Yeah.
I like this card a lot.
It does what it does.
Really helps out 5-color strategies.
Yeah, I almost wish this was in the first set. Like it was in Ravnica.
You can also see it like in Dragon's Maze.
Yeah, I just would have liked to have this before we had all the shocklands.
Just a little bit more fixing.
Yeah, so we had some fixing, so like you could have like pushed that boundary. Like we were already pushing the boundary of colors in Ravnica with Farseek.
Yeah.
So you could have Farseek and this, so now you could really play, pre-Gatecrash, a 4 to 5 color deck.
Right.
So
I still do like the card. I feel like it's very good. It does its job very, very well.
Yeah.
Keeps you in the game. It's not like a waste of slot. It's not a terribly dead top deck later on.
No.
I think the card's fine.
Gives eggs a new artwork.
I do really like this artwork.
Yeah.
I think it's very pretty.
But pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Razor Tip Whip. How we feel about this?
Nope.
Like pinger on an artifact. It's kind of weird.
Nope. They can't ping creatures.
Yeah, I don't know why they couldn't have printed it with creatures.
It's a whip.
Yeah, like it
I
doesn't.
feel like whip can hit anything.
Yeah, conceptually that doesn't work. That it doesn't hit creatures. And then I think they could have easily put this with the creatures clause as well. Like you're already making it. You have to pay 1 and tap anyways.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's a free tap kind of thing where it's like really sweet. You actually have to have mana up every turn.
Yeah, it does cost mana too. Like, yeah, I'm not on the board with this card at all. Next up we have Riot Gear.
This is pretty lackluster.
It is. It's very lackluster.
Really, like a 2 mana artifact with a 2 equip. Like
it's like to make your Boros guys die less.
You have to pay 4 mana for a Holy Strength. Are you kidding me? Like 4 mana for a Holy Strength? I pay 1 mana for my Holy Strengths.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So that's about all I gotta say.
Yeah, I guess it's for the Boros guys so they don't die as much when they're getting their battalions in.
Yeah. Man, it feels loose.
It does not seem good to me when you have to play something list to make your guys die less.
Yeah,
the strategy feels
for me. For me, they could have like printed a 0 equip on this, and it would have been fine. Like
I could be on board.
You know what I mean? Like
4
mana. Like when I first saw it, I was like, really? Come on, guys, a little lazy.
No. And lastly, we have Sky Blinder Staff.
This one I also don't like. The equipment in general, I feel, is like pretty lame. I think they got scared. We had like all our swords and stuff, and we had all this like sweet equipment with Batterskull. Like,
No,
they went the other spectrum and made unplayable.
This creature doesn't give nearly enough benefit. +1/+0 is way too small.
Yeah.
And by the time you get this online, they'll probably be able to block.
Yeah, it's a weird clause too. Usually we don't see this like can't be blocked
except by creatures with flying.
Right.
You can block it on the ground.
Right. Which is opposite of what you want.
Yeah, it's very easy to do.
Right. Which is what you want the opposite of that, so it can only be blocked by creatures with flying.
So you put it on a creature with flying and then it becomes unblockable.
Yeah, okay.
That's way too much.
Lame.
Very lame. And that wraps up the artifacts.
So we get the lands.
Head on over to the land section. Guild Gates.
Yeah, so basically we have like 3 lands we'll talk about. We get the gates, we get the shocks, and we have the one
that's not
basic.
Not either of those.
So we'll do the guild gates first.
Guild Gates are fine. Speaking about guild gates, like totally generally.
Yeah.
Guild Gates are fine. I said that at the start of this, I feel like you can still play guild gates in a 2-color deck. Just more dual lands.
You could.
And I very highly value guild gates in most drafts and limited and sealed.
Yes, they are very valuable in limited format. They give you like sweet color fixing for very little investment, very low risk. And then there's just sometimes you get the bonus of the cards that happen to trigger off gates.
Yeah, I would still be weary of that kind of strategy.
Yeah, you're not gonna like go into it and like try to build into it.
Yeah.
But if you just happen to have something that has a bonus gate effect, sure, I'll take it.
Yeah, definitely. Apparently, like these are gonna be more relevant in Dragon's Maze.
Yeah, the fact that we get them every pack.
Yeah, and there's a rumor going around. There's a card where if you have 10 gates, you win the game.
Oh, really?
I think it's a land that does that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know more details on that.
Okay.
I think that's what's floating around.
That's a rumor.
Yeah, I don't think that'd be very good.
No.
But definitely...
If there was a way to, like, if there was a rampant growth that said, search your library for a gate and put it into play.
We kind of, like Gate Group Divine does fetch.
Yeah, but it doesn't put it into play, though.
No, it doesn't. But it does give you a little more consistency.
It does.
Yeah. Otherwise, gates are very slow.
Yeah, they're almost not playable in constructed except for, like, games that be the straight 2-color. And then even those, it's the ones that have very intensive mana bases.
Yeah, well, it's hard to like imagine an intense mana base now.
Yeah, but like even black-red is still, pretty aggressive mana base. Like,
yeah, just because you need triple blacks.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people have cut Messenger because of that triple black. Like, it's just really brutal on your mana base.
Yeah. Or like I can see gates in like a slow deck where you don't mind playing turn 1 and turn 2.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to make one drop.
If you're going to be on a straight, like, blue-white deck, you could have a couple gates in there.
Yeah.
It'd be fine.
I agree.
So let's talk about the Shocklands.
What's to say about the Shocklands? Like, they're great. They're awesome. We got the last 5 we need. Yep. They're going to enable way more strategies, way more deck ideas.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be quite as crazy as, like, Reflecting Pool Standard, where, like, everybody was playing, like, minimum 4 colors. But I almost hope it does, because that was so fun when everybody's playing, like, 5-color, 4-color. Even your aggressive decks were, like, 3 colors.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. I like to be able to play with a large spectrum of colors in the same deck.
Yeah, Farseek gets better. Continues to be better.
Bananas.
Ranger's Path gets much better.
Yeah, Ranger's Path gets sweet.
Otherwise, like, they're must-plays if you want to be remotely competitive.
Yeah.
Or remotely consistent in your base.
The only thing I'd say is, like, as an older player that has a lot of these, like, I'm just sad to see these values that just totally tank, like, on the secondary market.
I find that the original version...
Originals are holding some value, which is sweet, because it's the old players that are like, no, I play with only the originals. But, the fact that we're going to get these again and drag into Maze makes me really nervous.
I'm pretty sure that's just in the pre-release.
Really?
Yeah,
I hope so.
Because I don't know if you've seen the you have like the guild boxes for pre-release if you pick a guild.
Right. Yeah, they have 10, right?
They're making new ones, but they're all 10, and I think just the packs instead of having basic land, they have a non-basic.
Oh, so that's not regular booster packs.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, because that would be really scary.
No, there'd be way too many Shocklands.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's just the pre-release to help you out because they're doing the whole you do 2 guilds now.
Okay.
Like you get a secret ally guild that you don't know what it is.
Okay.
You open your thing.
Oh, that's cool.
You only know that they're going to share a color with your guild.
Okay.
So like Dimir cannot get Selesnya as now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting pre-release.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that's why they're doing that. So make mana fixing.
The Ravnica pre-releases as a whole have been like great.
Yes, very, very,
really sweet. This is like the first time I felt like, because they took away our players' rewards and they made that empty promise of like, we'll give stuff back to you eventually.
There's still not
yet, but this is the first one I felt like, all right, we're doing something new and different. This is fun.
Yeah.
I'm
only sad that I found out about the player rewards like so late in the program. Like I only signed up like maybe a year before it got canceled, so I got very little rewards.
Yeah, that was a sweet program. It was just like Christmas every time that envelope came.
So good.
Last card.
I kind of like this card. Thespian's Stage, the only non-basic.
Yeah, it's the only non-basic that, does something cool.
It's another Vesuva.
Yeah, so I read this card wrong, and James had to, teach me how to read. So, for whatever reason, I like to add, like, until end of turn to cards when they don't say that. So, like, I was like, Thespian's Stage, lame. Like, you get a good land for a turn? He's like, what do you mean a turn? It's like, it turns into that land. That's it. And then so I was like, wait, I gotta go. Let me see. And I'm like,
Yeah.
So, yeah, this card's pretty sweet. I mean, it's a little slow, but
it is.
It's the decks that want it abuse the heck out of it.
Oh, yeah. I could see this being
like you said, 16 posts, it's a deck.
16 posts could be a deck.
Yeah, that's pretty scary.
They've got plenty of like extra mana to float around to activate this.
Right, this is just like, or whatever it's.
And sometimes like they even benefit by acting. Like, I'll put 2 mana into this, and then suddenly all my lands tap for an additional more, so I'm really netting like 5 mana. Yeah, and it's not legendary.
Not legendary, yeah.
I think this land's like pretty good.
Yeah, I think this is a card that like you pretty much should scoop up right away because I don't see it really going down. Like EH players will want this immediately. Like every EDH player is going to want one in the deck.
I also don't see it being very high, but that's because it's where this card is going to be applicable is in Eternal formats like Legacy.
Yes,
that's the only place where the card actually making a splash.
Right,
and it's not going to actually make a price splash until it makes some kind of a standing somewhere. Like top some kind of event or top 8s or anything. But as soon as it does.
But between the fact that it's going to be playable in older formats and an EDH playable, it's going to be one of those cards that has like slow creep. So just over time, you know, like it's only going to be a couple dollars right away, but then, you know, 5 years from now, it's going to still be you know, $8 then.
And the foil's going to be like 50.
Right, yeah, the foil's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, cool card. Keep an eye on it for more fringe strategies and fringe formats.
Yeah, you know, we don't know what's coming up in standard too, so like you may have to go back to this card because if they print some kind of crazy land now, you know, all of a sudden it becomes playable.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so that wraps up the Gatecrash review. Hope you enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, we did.
So, we'll see you with Dragon Maze.
Yep. Later.
Thanks. Bye.